Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 6 of trying to pass this FTMO challenge account, taking it from at the lowest was negative 6%, so the account was on 94,000, trying to take it all the way back into the green and hopefully passing phase 1 of this two-step 100k FTMO challenge account. We start the week on 96,953, and without further ado, let's jump into the economic calendar and then head right into the charts for some technical analysis breakdown. Looking at this week, we've got a heavy Friday. We're just gonna have to bear in mind that Friday is a very busy day, and ideally if we can get out of our trades before Friday, if we have some US dollar or pound pair trades, a lot of volatility due to happen. Breaking down the indexes on what we are looking for this week, starting off with the DXY. What we're looking for is, as we've now had this low, we've had the retracement for the lower high, and we are looking to continue this leg all the way down, dropping down to a lower time frame. What I would like to see from here, as well, sitting on the 4-hour 50 EMA, is a rejection and a nice break, I guess, below potentially this level here. So a break below, if we go down to an even lower time frame like the 1 hour, so a break below this level here. If we get that break and the rejection from this 1-hour 50 as well, break below here by the morning, we could look to enter some US dollar shorts. Moving on to euro. So we did come into this area of interest here, touching the weekly 50 EMA. We did have a slight rejection of this area, but I can imagine we'd have some sort of further move again back into this region to then reject it and then potentially have a move to the upside from there. So going on to the lower time frame, we could expect to see a pullback into the averages, potentially around this area here. So a pullback, this EMA wrapping around to potentially take this one short. But I think if we wanted to short the US dollar this week, ultimately we want to get into some Euro USD longs. So what I would like to see actually is some euro strength. So a break above this area here would be lovely. So if we can get a move like this above the 4-hour 50 and then continue it up, would be great. Yen is looking like it's starting to have a breakout move, potentially into the higher averages. We had some sort of double bottom here, broke above the daily 50 EMA, rejecting it, and I think we may see a drive into potentially into the trend line here. If we go to a higher time frame, you can see the descending trend line and how far it runs. So you can of course see we've started off the descending trend line there, we've rejected it quite a few times on a few occasions, so we could see some sort of run into that descending trend line. I guess if we were to draw another trend line, say here, we could see even a move into this area, which could potentially be more of a probable outcome. So the two levels I think we can look out for is this highlighted area here. So where we had levels of support and resistance, we could use this again as resistance, or depending how high and how fast we go, to potentially meet this area here. I wouldn't be looking for any yen buys as of yet. I think once we get a clearer break on the daily and then have the retest of this daily 50, then we could look for some entry. So a cleaner break above, coming back round to retest, to potentially have a drive up into this area. So the pound, we are in this range which seems to be a range which we are stuck in. So once we come into it, and this has been going on for ultimately a year, we've been in this range. So we have a move up, we wick out of it, we have a drive down, and then basically just playing ping pong with this range. So we come out, come back in, out, down, out, and then now we are having a move down. What we could look for this week is, on a lower time frame, a move into this 4-hour 50 EMA at this area of interest here to take it short, potentially to the edge of this range. The Australian dollar, now we had a great move up, and we've been having a great move up for quite some time, and if we use our Fibonacci retracement tool from this swing low to the swing high, ultimately a drive into this area here, potentially rejecting the 78.6 on the fib, would be a great retracement with this 12-hour 50 potentially coming up. So Canadian dollar, we did have a very bearish week last week. What we could look for is a retracement back into this area here, with this 4-hour 50 meeting to go short. But ultimately, I think as it looks like we're just having continuous lower lows, lower highs, I think we're just going to see this play out until it reverses its trend down at this area here. Right, moving on to the Swiss franc. I think where we are on the weekly time frame, these are ultimately all-time highs. So anything past this area would be price discovery. I think we're having some sort of a challenge breaking out of this area. Based off of this structure here, it's quite choppy because we were making lows, highs, lower highs, higher highs, and then we broke this structure here to create a low, so a lower low, and now we could potentially be creating a lower high to have another move down. If we do, then this would also look like a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, for a market reversal pattern. So we need to be quite cautious if we're looking to be taking any positions on the Swiss franc, which at this moment I'm probably not. If I wanted to go long here, a break above this high, EMA wrapping round to take it long from there. If we wanted to go short, if we had that left head, right shoulder scenario play out, a break below here, coming up to potentially retest this 4-hour 200 to then take it short is what we would look for there. So NZD war kind of in a consolidating area, so we're just ranging at the moment, nothing too crazy going on. We are somewhat rejecting this 8-hour 50 EMA. This is a new candlestick. The time is, if you can see it down here, it's almost midnight. Market opened at 10 o'clock GMT. Coming into this 8-hour 50, we do reject it, as you can see in the past. So once we do come into this 8-hour 50, more times than not, we do reject it. If we wanted to be quite conservative with what we're looking to take and do, a break above this high here, up here, EMA wrapping round to take it long. That is obviously, that would give us the best probability of longs playing out with the New Zealand dollar. Main thing which I'd like to be looking for this week is US dollar shorts. So again, a break, as we're rejecting this 4-hour 50 here, a break below this area, so a strong 4-hour close below this area here. And I think Euro USD, this was a trade that we were in last week, we got taken out of break even. If we do have that break, I think we could see an entry potentially like this, protecting these lows and targeting potentially these highs. Yeah, so something along these lines to take it long. Could even protect this low here, the wick down. Just depends how conservative we want to be. Potentially even a AUD USD long looks good. So rejection from this 38.2 on the fib, this 4-hour 50 EMA also being rejected at this area of, if we zoom out, we can see we've had previous resistance here, using it as support here. If we scroll along, we land at previous support, resistance, resistance, support, liquidity. If we get some good rejections from this area, a break above here, yeah, so something along these lines would be good to see. We're still in this oil position. It's just consolidating at the moment, so yeah, we're just sitting on our hands with this one, seeing how it plays out. All right, so it's just gone midnight. If you remember from last week what we was talking about with Bitcoin, we had the rejection twice of this weekly 200 EMA from this area of resistance, which is now being used as support. So I think from here, potentially another little wick down into this area. So 3 wicks in, and I think we could see our first green week, potentially having a move up into the 75,000 region. But yeah, other than that, we'll see how this week goes. Ideally, we should have been on 100k if we'd closed our positions last week, but we didn't, so we're not. But it's all right, because we got some juicy markets lining up for this week. So hopefully we have a good one. Let's see what tomorrow brings. We are in AUD USD longs. So just to give you a quick breakdown of what this trade actually is, we had a impulsive move up, we had a retracement down. If we draw our Fibonacci retracement tool, put that from the swing low to the swing high, we've had a 38.2% retracement, which is a shallow retracement after a impulsive move. At our 38.2 retracement, at this area of support and resistance, and this rejection of the 4-hour 50 marks our area of interest. So now we have three confluences here, which we looked to take long, and we entered this position off of this 4-hour bullish engulfing candlestick here. Now, to further aid this position, if we go to the indexes, right here we have the Australian dollar index. So as you can see, we're in a bullish trend, so making lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. This is now a higher low, and we are looking to make a new higher high. So we've had the bullish engulfing close above this 4-hour 50 EMA. We are having the retest. So if we draw the fib back on this chart now, from the swing low to the swing high, we are having a rejection from this area of interest, which is a 50% retracement, this 12-hour 21 EMA. We are using previous highs, which was once resistance, now using it as support. So from this area of interest here marks our three confluences as to why we are looking to go long on the Australian dollar. And then if we go to the DXY, so here we are in a bearish market. If we're looking at the weekly, as you can see, we've had a strong weekly bearish close last week just here, and we're looking for a continuation to the downside. As you can see, we've also broken this structure here. So what I'm looking for is, now we've had this move down, we're having a retracement here, and ultimately we are catching the move from rejection of this 61.8 on the fib, this 12-hour 50 EMA, and then we are catching the meat in the middle. So the move from this area here to potentially our minus 27 on the fib, we are catching this move in the middle going down. So I'm expecting some US dollar weakness over this week, and then Australian dollar strength, which is why I've chosen AUD USD longs. If you would have seen our market breakdown video, we also had things like the New Zealand dollar as a strength play, and we also said that if we wanted to short the DXY, then Euro USD ideally would be the play for the week. Now, before we look to take a position, so example, looking at AUD USD here, I will pair it with other strong charts. So for example, if I wanted to short the DXY, but I didn't know whether to short it against the New Zealand dollar or the Australian dollar, what I'll do is go to AUD NZD and see who's got better strength here. So as it stands, the Australian dollar is having better strength. So we could be seeing continuation to the upside with AUD NZD, which is giving the Australian dollar here more strength than the New Zealand dollar. And then going over to Euro AUD, we look like we're in a bearish market, rejecting this 4-hour 50 all the way through, hanging on it like bells do string, and we could potentially see some more downwards movement on this chart, indicating a stronger Australian dollar against the euro. So back to AUD USD. Here we are in this trade, expecting some potential Australian dollar strength against US dollar weakness. That is our trade for this week. And of course, we are still holding this oil long, in which we are currently in this consolidation just here. And just for confirmation, this is our AUD USD position, 16th of Feb, currently sitting in a bit of a negative. These are our oil positions. So yeah, this is our trade for the week, or trades for the week. Let's see how they play out. To be honest, this was quite an impulsive trade, if we're being brutally honest here, simply because our entry just here, this candlestick here, this was a 2 a.m. close. I was awake pretty late last night, just kind of watching the markets a bit, and we had this impulsive move up. So just off of this 4-hour close, I thought it looked good for potential longs. Yes, it was an impulsive move. No, it's not the best trade, probably, simply because when we're looking at the US dollar, what I was explaining was ideally I would have liked to see a break below here on the 4-hour, but as you can see, we're having a move up, and we've actually closed above this 4-hour 50 EMA. So we could, in this next candlestick, see a rejection from the 4-hour 50 and continue up, or we could just close test it and potentially see some sort of downwards movement from here. But again, not the end of the world. I am still bearish on the DXY. As you can see, this 12-hour 21 EMA, the 21 EMA I use with higher time frames, so weekly, daily, 12 hour. It tends to work well with trending markets. So it's like if you have a impulsive move upwards or downwards, if you have some sort of sharp retracements, typically you'll see it go into the 21 EMA. It's not as common to see a retracement into the daily 50 as it is the daily 21 EMA. So for higher time frames, I do look at the 21 moving average. So yeah, we are holding the 21 EMA on the DXY, so could be worse. Not the highest grade trade from me, but we'll see how it plays out as we go into the week some more. Just having a little peep at Bitcoin. We are having that third move into the 200 EMA. From here, a rejection towards the upside could be probable. But yeah, at the moment, these are our 2 trades for the week. We'll see how they play out. We do still have some heavy news events. Nothing's changed. To be fair, from Wednesday onwards, it gets very busy. Friday is still a killer of a day. We'll see how it goes. Brother, losing 2 grand on 2 trades in 2 days is absolutely brutal. So let's break down exactly what happened. How have we how have we come to be in this position 2 grand down on a Wednesday? So you would have seen we entered this position on Monday. To break it down for you again, we had the fib retracement from swing low to the swing high, 38.2% retracement on the fib, 4-hour 50 being rejected, entered on this 4-hour bullish engulfing candlestick. And then we had a little bit of a push up and then eventually died and got taken out. As we were taken out of this position, we came down and close tested this 4-hour 50 EMA, going on to the 1-hour time frame. To me, what I saw was all of this downwards movement and then a break of this structure here. Me being an impulsive trader, I entered a position here. And then from there, didn't even see a single bit of profit, just basically died all the way and hit my stop loss. Now, the real question here, who is at fault? Were these bad trades by me? Was it the market just being unpredictable? Who do we point the finger at for this one? And if you haven't already guessed it, this guy right here, this guy right here. So what happened at the start of the week when we did our market breakdown video on the DXY? This is where we were. So I was looking for a close below this area here, so a break below here, just to confirm some sort of downwards momentum. This is a 4-hour time frame. So if we're breaking this level here, ultimately we could potentially see a move down. We didn't get that. We did not get that at all. We had a move up instead. So we violated our 4-hour 50 EMA. So now this trade idea is wrong. Weakness on the 4-hour 50 from our area of interest right here, invalidated. We were still in the trade. Not even we were still in it, we took it anyway. The Australian dollar, different story here though. We're sitting at this region, just bouncing off of it, kind of consolidating, not making too much movement on either side, still showing some sort of strength. We're seeing us holding this blue horizontal level here, just kind of holding this 4-hour 50 EMA. The candlestick we entered on was this one here on AUD. So be it, we did show a little bit of strength, kind of came down, but we were fighting the US dollar at the same time. If the US dollar is showing strength and the Australian dollar is consolidating or showing even the slightest bit of weakness, our position out the window. So eventually we saw this weakness here on the Australian dollar and obviously had strength here on the DXY, and then that was us getting cooked here. Beautiful. Had an impulsive move up, entered the position again. We entered solely based off of this chart here. First entry was wrong, not because how it looks, but the time we took it. This 4-hour candlestick here closed at 2 a.m. We entered on a 2 a.m. candlestick close on a Sunday. Impulsive, yes. Could it have gone my way? Sure. Was it the right thing to do? Definitely not. Did it anyway, paid the price. Second one, it wasn't that bad. We had the close test of the 4-hour 50 and all the rest of it there. All right, this was the second position close here. What we could have waited for was a break below here on the 4-hour time frame, potential retest with this 4-hour 50 wrapping round, something along them lines, just to show actual weakness and show us the direction in which the US dollar is going. Sitting above the 4-hour 50 was not a great sign. I entered off of this 12-hour 50 rejection right there, if you can see as I zoom in. So we had the 12-hour 50 EMA coming in, Great rejection, to be honest. I'm not entirely mad at this one, just because on this chart did look bearish. Entered it off that one. If I wanted extra security, the flip of structure on a lower time frame, sure. So to be honest, the second trade wasn't the worst one. The first one, diabolical. Even here, this was the second trade. Entry from the second position basically was just about here. Kind of having that move up, kind of making new structure. But yeah, not the worst position. I think the reason why we was actually taken out and why the US dollar did show significant strength today could have been some indecisiveness throughout the day. And then we had FOMC meeting minutes at 7 p.m. my time, which obviously showed strength for the US dollar, which then ultimately killed our position. Hey, I'm just the worst trader around. That's why no one watches these videos. I could call it, now this is your tutorial on how to lose 2 grand in 2 days. But on the somewhat brighter side of things, our oil position, which we are clearly in this swing position, although is still moving sideways within this region, is having the bounce up, which is things we like to see. A break above here and a close would be great. Ultimately a hit of our TP won't do us too much good, but it will make back the 2 losses that we suffered this week. And as you can see, these were actual trades taken. AUD/USD minus 1,000, AUD/USD minus 1,000, 1 day or 1 day. Like it's actually all there for you to see. Are we ever gonna pass this account? I don't even know at this point. We're just like, just keep giving money back into the markets. Like, we just keep giving money back to the markets for nothing, for no reason. We're out of control, and it makes it worse because I'm actually documenting everything. So if we're being brutally honest about the week, we weren't patient. We weren't following our rules. We paid the price. That is me being a bad trader. And I can't even complain about it. That's the craziest thing. We'll see what the end of Friday looks like. There's some strong news events on Friday still. And tomorrow, to be fair. We got, heavy Thursday and Friday combined. A lot of news events. So we'll see how the rest of the week plays out. As we round the week off, let's start with some positive news. Our oil long has finally hit TP. We hit take profit yesterday. So initially our take profit was at 67, call it just there. But I changed our take profit placement to basically where these highs are. This is around the 66,500 mark. So I believe when we got filled out of our position, we was somewhere around the 66,450-ish, maybe somewhere around there. We did actually end up hitting 67 and had a bit of a reversal or a bit of a rejection from that area. But yeah, overall solid trade. Pretty happy with that one. It was a bit of a longer hold, but nonetheless, take profit is take profit. I think we've been holding this one for, just over 2 weeks, 16 days. Crazy, that one. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, because we had this structure here. And of course, if you're into market patterns, this does very much look like a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, a head and shoulders pattern. Basically is what I'm saying. So yeah, I thought we was down and out from there, to be honest, but had this explosive move, which is great. 2 weeks of price action for less than 2 days of literally drawdown to TP. But yeah, overall solid. Great trade. Very happy. Now the 2 bedwetters of the week. Look at that. Look at that. Honestly horrible, because regardless if oil was a good trade or not, this was just over a 2R. These 2 losses are basically a 2R as well. So it's like, even though we had a good trade this week, we had 2 stinkers. So we're basically break even. Horrible. Yeah, terrible trade. Terrible from me. So yeah, let's have a quick dive through the indexes, see what actually happened this week. Looking at the DXY on a higher time frame, ultimately we're rejecting this monthly 200 EMA, which was last month, and this month we're kind of just sitting above this area here. And you can see when we've zoomed out at this area here, we've had some support, resistance. So it is a respected area. And as we've rejected this monthly 200 EMA, we're just having some, I guess, consolidation in a way, like trying to figure out what the monthly's doing. So yeah, not great for us trying to take a short, but nonetheless, the daily has come into the daily 50 EMA. I think from here, to be honest, it's not looking good. It's not really looking good because I think this is looking bullish, especially if we body close above this high. We could look to see some sort of upwards price action. But I think on the daily, if we really want to confirm that we're still bearish, a close below here would look amazing. Or if we drop down to a lower time frame, a break below here, because look at this, we've ultimately closed above that high. So unless we actually come below this level here, I don't think I'd be looking to short the US dollar just yet. Euro still kind of wicking into that weekly 50, but still wicking off of the daily 200 as well. I think on the lower time frame, we're just kind of consolidating at the moment. Nothing too much going on here. I think in the coming weeks we could see a break up and have some bullish price action from here. Yen, we are breaking below the daily 50 again. I think going into next week, we could very much so look to start shorting the yen again. I think a break and retest of this area, so a break down here with this 4-hour 50 crossing over the 200 once more, and then a retest of this area here to go short would be great. Alright, the pound. We did come out of its consolidation, as we do. We wick out of it on the weekly. Going on to the lower time frame. I think once we see potentially a break above this level with a flip of the 4-hour 50 EMA to wrap around to take it long, I think I would very much like to see that before we have any buys on the pound. And more so, if we do have that breakout with the retest to go up, we have an inverse head and shoulders as well. Australian dollar. Obviously, we got violated with the DXY trying to short it, but AUD, we weren't far off our plan. We are having Australian dollar strength. We just got the US dollar weakness wrong. I guess we could have paired it with something better, but at the time, it looked good for me, but nonetheless it's fine. I think a continuation to the upside for the Australian dollar and potentially some pullbacks into the averages. We will look for longs there. CAD, we're still kind of slowly moving down. I think we will see some resistance at this area here. Swiss franc, still rejecting this area here. Once we have a good solid close above, only then I will look to get in some Swiss franc longs, because this is just consolidation at the moment. Not making any highs, not making any lows, just kind of ranging. And then the New Zealand dollar. Yeah, still looks quite bullish. It's just having a bit of a range at the moment. This is consolidation, some bearish consolidation. If we get below this level here, so like something like this, with a retest there, I think I'd go short, or a break above that level and the retest to go long. But yeah, BTC, we're having that third wick in or third tap into the weekly 200 EMA, which what we spoke about, if we have the third wick in and this week ends blue, we could potentially see some drive up into the 75k region in the following weeks. But yeah, just confirming our trades for this week. AUD USD, both of which were big fat losses. Beautiful. And then of course we had our oil position, which is split into two, for ultimately a total of about $2,200. So on the week we have a realized profit of $142. Well done. How ridiculous. But yeah, and in the week on $97,095. Still just creeping closer to that 100k mark, so we can have a reset of the account basically. But yeah, we live to see another week. If you made it all the way through this video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.